Meron Rapoport, you're a founding member of Two States, One Homeland. How does this differ from the two-state solution?
It's in one way it has no difference. We are talking about two states, two independent states, Israel and Palestine, on the 67 borders, according to internationally agreed upon borders and agreements. And the big but is that we base our agreement ideas on the idea of sharing instead of separation. We think that separation, first of all, does not work, and secondly, even if it will work, it will not give a basis for reconciliation between the two peoples. The only way is to go to sharing, and this the main idea of our initiative.
So how would that work in practice? For example, if I was an Israeli settler in the West Bank, would I become Palestinian but have rights? What's the practical impact of this solution?
Anyone, Israeli or Palestinian, will have to eventually to reside wherever he wants, whether in the whole of the land between the river and the sea. An Israeli, including an ex-settler, because settlement will cease to exist, will be able to live in Palestine as an Israeli citizen under Palestinian law, obeying Palestinian law, police, sovereignty, full Palestinian sovereignty, and vice versa. A Palestinian, including a refugee, could live in Israel as a Palestinian citizen, live in Israel with Israeli residents. The model of the EU is here relevant. It has its faults, but it worked quite fine in this sense.
And you talk about the EU. What role could and even should the EU play in looking towards this solution?
I think the EU has immense importance here. First of all, I think the conflict has bearing on Europe directly. It's almost an internal conflict. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict is almost an internal conflict to Europe because it affects Europe so much with the Muslim and Arab communities in Europe. So it has tremendous role. And secondly, I think the EU, as it has developed a model which is not which is somehow similar to the model we propose, I think that if the EU will support such an idea, it will have resonance in Israel and Palestine and in the international community. So it has immense influence.
And what are some of the barriers to this solution? Which community is going to be the most difficult? The assumption would be that the Israeli community benefit from the status quo as it is. How would you win them round to your idea?
Of course, it will be more difficult with the Israelis because they are the strongest part. They are the part that have the privileges. But I think that Israelis won't know that for the long term they need peace. They need to live in peace in this land, and for this they need the acceptance of the other side, and this is what we are offering them.